That's a whole other class we're not going to get into right now. All right, so with Wednesday, September 11th, getting into our caterpillaring, we'll turn off one light from there. And my goal is, we covered this yesterday, so we should be able to speed through, the knowledge is in your brains, so we can get up to stanza number quattro and try to make things a little bit easier on you. To start off with, before we can even begin the whole thing, let's go with, sure, Lexi, that's a good point. Well, what is a stanza? Close, you're on the right track. I know, throwing a question at you right at the beginning was not the nicest thing for you to do. You're right, it does have to do with poetry. It is something that's in poems. We had to go through and count them yesterday.
The big gap.
Getting closer, that's how you can tell where one ends. You just answer my next question. So you travel through time. A bit too fast when we come back to you. So hold that answer. And we're going to go to Sturkle and then come back. Sturkle?
It's like a paragraph, but without the indent.
Nice one. It's a paragraph in a, what are these things we're reading? They're called, begins with pa, is an oem. Good job. Paragraph in a poem. Lexi, how would we know when a stanza is going to end and the next one's going to begin? What do we look for?
The big gap.
The big gap in between them. Nicely done. And from there, Castro, in our poem Caterpillar, how many stanzas would we have? Knowing you have to look for the big gap information that's going to be in there. 6. Nicely done. And we'll have you guys read each one and figure it out from there. But first, Coulson, speaker. What's the speaker in a poem, since our poem definitely has one?
The caterpillar.
That's in this one, just the definition of a speaker in general. Once again, you travel through time too fast.
The person who's talking.
Nicely done. The character in the poem that is talking to us, not the one that is reading the poem out loud or anything like that. It is the actual character that is talking directly to us. For the first stanza, we did have one more question. That was a good point, Blunt. What is alliteration? I'm glad you brought that up.
A sentence where everything starts with the same letter.
Nice one. Multiple words in a row, all starting with the same letter. For this first stanza, we have, under the slip of honeysuckle, a creeping colored caterpillar, I gnaw the fresh green hawthorn spray, I nibble it leaf by leaf away. So with that one, let's see, to there, to that. Alliteration. We have our first example of alliteration in there. Lucas?
A creeping colored caterpillar.
And what sound gets repeated?
C.
Nicely done. The K sound with the C. And then before we can even figure out who our speaker is, we had to get to the honeysuckle. And what is honeysuckle? Schultz?
It's a plant that like has a sweet.
You had me at plant. Nicely done. It has the sweet thing. Sweet. Nicely done. It's the sweet plant. And we also got to hawthorn spray. And Christy, what's a hawthorn spray?
A plant.
Nicely done. Another type of plant. And then we got to there, to that, and the hawthorn. Oh, our speaker, Matt Pratt. And who's our speaker in this one?
The caterpillar.
The caterpillar. Nicely done. Caterpillar right there. And it turns out our caterpillar has a hobby. It's a Delucia. What's our caterpillar's hobby? What does he do for funsies?
Eating.
Nicely done. That's where the nobbing comes in. Just like that. Our second stanza, we find the dangers where it says, down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses, rooks flap croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again. Why pronounce again as opposed to again? Vanessa?
So it rhymes.
Rhyming with lane, because that makes much more sense there. And then we got to the fact that we have these things that are growing down beneath the hawthorn spray. The first off being dandelions and frash. What's a dandelion?
A yellow flower.
It's like a flower. There's a flower you want to kill. There you go. The flowers you want to kill. The little yellow weed thing that eventually turns white. And then we got to a daisy. Nelson, what's a daisy?
White flower.
Nice. Not a weed this time, but straight. See, it's machines. And there's a straight up flower looking thing from there. And then we got to the old man's looking glasses, which is another type of flower, but I don't have a picture of that one, so it's no good. We find out our danger in Caterpillar Land. Heron, what's our danger in Caterpillar Land?
Bird.
How do you know it's a bird? What evidence in that line tells you it's a bird? Why not a frog? Frogs are dangerous.
Flapping its wings.
Nicely done, the flapping of the wings, so that brings in the fact that we have a bird. And then we go back to the Anne Marie, the speaker in the poem. Once again, who is the speaker in our poem? Nicely done. The caterpillar comes in right there. Most caterpillars are smart and run away. Our caterpillar is not smart and doesn't run away. When the bird goes flying overhead free age, what does he choose to do instead?
Stay there.
Nicely done. And what does he do while he stays there? What's our caterpillar's hobby?
Eat.
Nicely done. Nom nom nom. Eat, eat, eat. Stanza 3. More dangers in Caterpillar Town. Here come raindrops, helter skelter. I munch and nibble unregarding. Hawthorn leaves are juicy and firm. I'll mind my business. I'm a good worm. First off, why put worm as opposed to caterpillar? What possible reasons for that? Lake?
Would it rhyme?
Nicely done. The rhyming with the firm and the worm. And then the Anne Marie, who's the speaker in the poem again? Nicely done. That's where our caterpillar comes back in one more time there. And our new danger in Caterpillar Town, Lolo. What's our new danger in Caterpillar Town?
Raindrops.
Nicely done. That's where the raindrops come in. And Joshua, do you remember why raindrops are a scary thing to caterpillars? Are you with me, Joshua? Yes. No, he's gone to his. Hi, Joshua. You remember, back with us. You remember why the caterpillars are scared of rain? Why rain is dangerous to them?
Because
Yes.
it goes slipping away on.
Thank you much. Because of the slipping and sliding and the disappearing when the rain comes down. So most caterpillars run and hide, but not our caterpillar free age. What does our caterpillar do?
Stay and eat.
Nicely done. The eating and the nom nom nomming. And I believe we got through this one with you guys too.
Yes.
Yay! When I'm old, tired, melancholy, I'll build a leaf green mausoleum close by here on this lovely spray and die and dream the ages away. First off, melancholy. What does it mean if you feel melancholy? McGee?
Happy?
Just the opposite.
Sad?
Nicely done. And so it's where you feel sad and all upset on the inside. How you feel at 10:56 when you have to leave my classroom and that depression that sets in.
Lunch.
Davies? You ready for the next one? What's a mausoleum, Davies?
It's a place where people get buried
Nice. So is it above ground or underground?
above.
Nice. So down. It's a little above ground burial house person place thing. And then it turns out these two lines are going to be a big metaphor in the poem where it says, when I'm old, tired, melancholy, I'll build a leaf green mausoleum. Obviously, our caterpillar can't lift the bricks because they're really heavy. It's just going to smash every time. People are going to laugh at him. So instead, what's it a metaphor for, Schultz?
For a cocoon.
Nicely done. And that's where our cocoon comes in. And then it talks about close by here on this lovely spray. Do you guys know what the spray is he's referring to? Blunt?
The plants.
Nicely done. He's there on the plant. And now we get to the new stuff. Because it turns out there's a rumor going around in Caterpillar Town. He's heard that after caterpillars die, something happens to some of them. He doesn't know if it's true, but it's definitely a rumor going around. And that brings us to stanza number 5. So Christy, you want to read stanza 5?
Yes.
Go for it.
Alright. Some say worms win resurrection, with white wings beating flitter, flutter, but wings or a sound sleep. Why should I care? Either way, I'll miss my share.
Thank you. Some say worms win resurrection, with white wings beating flitter, flutter, but wings or a sound sleep. Why should I care? Either way, I'll miss my share. First off, big word, resurrection.
Oh, I know.
You guys, oh, we do. Lake,
Come back from the grave.
to come back from the grave, to come back from the dead. So once you, like Joey, who was dead, and he has now been resurrected and is back with us. So yay for him. So anytime that you die, you come back to life. Also, we do, as Lexi pointed out a moment ago, have an example of alliteration in this one. Nicely done, Lexi. I'm proud of you. And our example of alliteration that we have up there, Vanessa, would be?
But wings or sound sleep, why should I care?
Actually, you're right. There's a half dozen different examples up there. So what are the two words that have the same sound?
W and S.
Nicely done. So you have the with white wings is one of them there, and you also have the sound sleep. But there's one more. Yeah, there actually is like 2 more up there. Davies,
Care and chair.
those rhyme. Try. It had to be the beginning sounds. I like you picking up on the rhyming. Aaron?
Say some.
Nicely done. Starting with what word or what sound? Nicely done. We do have, where is that? The some say. All right, at the very beginning. Cool, son?
Worms win.
And the worms win with the W sound. And so there's a whole bunch of jot through there. It was go from there. The rumor that our caterpillar has heard, that he says happens to some caterpillars after they die, he hears they get resurrected, which you pointed out means they come back to life. But not only do they come back to life, they come back to life with superpowers. What superpower do they come back to life with? McGee?
To be able to fly.
How do you know they can fly? Where's your evidence?
Their wings.
Nicely done. When it talks about the wings beating flitter flutter, so he says they come back to life and they can fly. So they come back as flying caterpillars. But wait, says you, Mr. Broviak, there's a name for that. When you bury something and it dies and it comes back to life and it walks on the earth and it tries to eat your brain, we have a word for those and we call them
Scary things.
zombies. So it turns out, the rumor going around is that after you die, you come back as a flying caterpillar zombie. Flying, there you go, flying caterpillar zombie.
Where's the zombie?
Which, I don't know, wherever the zombie, that's a zombie up there.
That's a vampire.
Whatever, it's a zombie.
Vampire.
Have you ever seen a flying caterpillar zombie?
That's
Exactly.
a Batman.
That's an actual photograph of one. I took it yesterday.
That's awesome.
So that's our flying caterpillar zombie. And that's the rumor that he's heard going around. Now, the issue comes up, Mr. Broviak, I'm smarter than the caterpillar. I'm proud of you. There's at least 4 of you that probably are. And you realize they don't come back as flying caterpillar zombies. Farrar, will they come back up instead once the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and dies?
I don't know.
You ever seen a caterpillar go into a cocoon? What goes out of the cocoon?
Butterfly.
Nicely done, Farrar. You just lied to me. You didn't know the answer. And they come back out as a butterfly. So that's what he's referring to. So they're just talking about the fact that this last part, where he says, either way I'll miss my share, he's saying, I don't care if I come back as a superpowered flying caterpillar zombie, or if I'm just dead. Either way I'll miss my share. Because to Lucia, our caterpillar only cares about one thing. And what's the only thing he cares about?
Eating.
Eating. Because, wait, do you guys know what butterflies eat? Because they don't eat leaves. Caterpillars eat leaves. They don't eat leaves.
Pollen and nectar.
Nicely done. They eat brains of flowers. They have the big brain sucker, that big curly-Q thing. They unfurl it, and it comes out like this big straw. And they jam it right into the brain of the flower, and they suck out the brains. Brains. And they curl it back up, and they fly around. And they try to get the next caterpillar, and bark, they stick it right there in the flower's brains, because they eat flower brains. But our next stanza, we find out that even after all those issues, our caterpillar only cares about one thing. Schultz.
Under this loom of honeysuckle, a hungry, hairy caterpillar, I crawl on my high and swing seat and eat as one out to eat.
Nice, one ought to eat. As we go through, there are multiple examples of alliteration in this one too. Where it says, under this loop of honeysuckle, a hungry, hairy caterpillar, I crawl on my high and swinging seat and eat as one ought to eat. Of all the alliteration in there, there's one that's really bad. If you tried to use it, I'd have to beat you with a stick if I saw you try to use it. And what's my bad example of alliteration in there, Fresh? Nicely done. And why is that bad alliteration?
Because they're repeating the same word.
Yeah, the same word. Technically, it is alliteration. But if you're like, Mr. Broviak, I can do alliteration too. Dog. I'm like, smack. So don't do that. That would be very bad of you. I said, there we go. And there's the other one, the hungry and the hairy and the caterpillar. And let's see back. Anne Marie in the poem. Who's our speaker in the poem? Nicely done. That's where our caterpillar comes in. And our caterpillar free agent only cares about one thing. Well, there you go. He only cares about eating. And the last question, when it talks about a swinging seat, what is the swinging seat he's referring to? He says, I'm going to hang out on my swinging seat and just chill. Brat?
The leaf?
Nicely done, because he's on the leaf and it swings back and forth, and that's the high and swinging seat. Christy?
I have 3 things.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Alright, and 2, can you go back a page for a second? Thank you. When it says with white wings beating the flutter,
Uh-huh.
well, with wings, so not all animals with wings can fly. Like
Penguins.
penguins.
Ostriches.
Our next poem we're going to take a look at
I
is
know
called... Yeah, you lost the last one. Fun game. One of the 7 has somewhat to say. This one is also going to be a riddle poem, but this one doesn't come out and tell you who the speaker is. So as we go through and do it, some of you might have this learning sensation, where as we read it, you go, and you're going to get all excited because you're going to figure out who the speaker is. Don't tell the slower kids. We're going to let them figure it out on their own too. So don't just yell out what the answer is. You're going to find clues. So as we go through and read, find examples of the speaker's gender. Is the speaker a dude or a chick? Find examples of the speaker's job, what they do for a living. And then find examples of how they look as far as their appearance goes. And then also sort of like what they do like for the hobbies, their house and stuff like that. So Lolo, are you wanting to read?
Yeah.
For that first stanza, 1 of the 7 will have you read, and then I'll read, and then we'll find those examples. Go for it.
Wait, so I'm reading the first stanza?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
On the 1 of the 7 has somewhat to say.
Yes.
Remember how it was before she came? The picks and shovels dropped beside the door. The sink piled high, the meals any old time. Our jackets where we'd flung them on the floor. The mud tracked in, the clutter on the shelves. None of us shaved, or more than halfway clean. Just 7 old bachelors living by ourselves. Those were the days, if you know what I mean.
Nicely done. I'll read through it again, and we'll go through one for you're not telling us who the speaker is, just finding evidence to help point us in the right direction. Remember how it was before she came? The picks and shovels dropped beside the door, the sink piled high, the meals any old time, our jackets where we'd flung them on the floor, the mud tracked in, the clutter on the shelves. None of us shaved or more than halfway clean, just 7 old bachelors living by ourselves. Those were the days, if you know what I mean. With that, first off, clue as to the speaker's gender. Can you find evidence as to boy or girlishness? Yes?
A boy,
Why do you say boy?
because it's the first time it says, remember how it was before she came.
True, but it could be girls too, and girls we talk tonight. Remember before it was where she came? And so sometimes girls don't like girls too. I know it's hard to believe, but it's possible. Mangano? Hang on, while you're thinking, did you bring in 2 bags of cans? Is that you? Alright, you get 355. So remind me at the end, I'll give you points for it. I couldn't remember who it was, I thought it was you. Mangano? None of us shave. Good, but girls also. Now, this is another class you're going to get to later, but later on, girls are going to grow hair, and they get furry bits, and they're going to shave the furry bits. So it's possible for girls to shave too, but we're not going to talk about that now, because that's a whole other class. Blunt,
It says 7 old bachelors.
what's a bachelor?
It's a guy.
Close, because I'm a guy, and I'm not a bachelor. If I was a bachelor, it'd make my wife really unhappy, and I ain't going there. Blunt,
An unmarried guy.
nicely done. It's an unmarried dude. So he refers to himself as a bachelor. If he's a bachelor, he's an unmarried dude. Because if he was an unmarried chick, there's another word for it. And that's bachelorette. One of the few times TV pays off. Miss Broviak, I watched that show. Good job. You got a little smarter for knowing that show exists. But if you watch the show, you got a lot dumber because you actually watched it. It deteriorate. But that's okay. But a bachelor, unmarried dude. Now with that, now it comes back over here to Mangano. We find out about how he looks. And what do we know about how he looks? Use your earlier answer. Nicely done. The fact, I said, the fact that none of them are shaved. And so when guys don't shave long enough, what do they end up getting?
Beard.
Nicely done. So our guy has a beard. Big old furry face looking thing up there. So we find out the speaker has a beard.
Scottish.
Job. What evidence do you have as to the occupation or job that he has? Brat?
stuff?
Why do you say dig stuff? Where's your evidence?
Because it says, picks and shovels drop beside the door.
Nice and honest. We have picks and shovels. So it could definitely be the fact of digging stuff. But digging stuff isn't a job in and of itself, but you're on the right track. But there are jobs that involve the digging of stuff. Frash
Mining.
could definitely be mining. That is a job that involves digging of some kind. Lolo,
You might have a side job of Scottish dancing.
Scottish dancing. Doesn't use picks and shovels from the ones I've seen, but you might watch different videos. Delucia.
Planting trees.
Sure, tree digging. I can definitely see that to dig the holes. Heron,
Building a house.
house building. I can definitely see that. Christy,
A cemetery digger.
ooh, going back to our mausoleum. Maybe he does dig the dead bodies. Yes.
Construction worker?
And construction worker. I've also heard gardener could work too. It could be a It could be a gardener. Nicely done. Evidence as to how he keeps his house. Clean, neat, dirty, issues, stuff along those lines. Yeah.
Dirty,
Why do you say dirty?
because there's mud tracks all over the ground.
Alright, one, I can see that. Mud tracks everywhere. Davies,
Halfway clean.
halfway clean, which means that using math, he's halfway clean. That means he's also halfway dirty. So I can see that. Schultz,
The sink stacked.
so he has lots of stuff piled in the sink. Doesn't work well for him. Lake,
Cluttered.
nice though. We have clutter everywhere. You know what clutter is?
Yeah.
What's clutter?
There's like a bunch of stuff in like one spot.
Nice and on. A lot of you guys have clutter around your desk. When you come in, things just fly out everywhere. That's the clutter that you guys have. So there's our examples of clutter that we have. Blunt,
Their jackets on the floor.
the fact they just come in and throw their jackets on the floor. He seems fairly happy about the way he lives. He likes living messily with his big beard. And oh, I forgot to ask, does he live by himself?
No.
Where's your evidence? Tell me he doesn't live by himself. Don't you just assume things. Frash,
The title of the poem is The Seven of Us.
you're on the right track. But where else in the poem? Maybe the title is just saying that, there's getting.
Just seven bachelors.
There you go. And that refers back to the 7 bachelors. So he at least has the 6 other dude roommates he lives with. Which brings us to stanza number 2. And we find out there's something that makes him unhappy. So as Lake reads stanza 2, we're going to figure out what it is that makes him happy without telling us who it is. Just figure out what's making him unhappy. Go Lake.
She scrubs, she's sweet, she even dusts the ceilings. She's made us build a tool shed for our stuff. Dinner's at 8, the table's sitting formal, and if I weren't afraid I'd hurt her feelings, I'd move until we get her married off, and things can gradually slip back to normal.
Nicely done. She scrubs, she sweeps, she even dusts the ceilings. She's made us build a tool shed for our stuff. Dinner's at 8, table setting's formal, and I weren't afraid I'd hurt her feelings. I'd move until we get her married off, and things can gradually slip back to normal. So, what is it that has our speaker so grumpy and upset? Christy?
That this one person is still here.
Nice done. And what gender is the person?
Female.
A female is still there. Specifically, what does this female do that makes him such an unhappy person? Vanessa?
Cleaning.
Cleaning. Now, more so than just cleaning, because her cleaning is a bit on the extreme side. Vanessa?
She makes everything neat, like the dinner table.
They have a set dinner table, would definitely work. Brat?
Well, I was gonna ask, like, is it like one of those homes like in college, like
dorm?
Like a
yeah,
dorm.
like,
Could be.
seven
Very
beds?
similar to that. Not bad. Free age?
I sure just forgot.
Oh, dang. Any other things about her cleaning that upsets him? That seems like Delucia.
She has OCD
Why do you say OCD?
because she wants everything perfect.
Not bad. She wants everything neat and perfect and organized. Free age.
Dust the ceiling.
Dusting ceilings does seem a little on the extreme side. I imagine when she's dusting the ceiling, she's probably whistling, has like little animals around her while she does it, stuff like that. Which helps us figure out who the speaker in the poem is, because who would the speaker in the poem be? Aaron?
Snow White.
No, because Snow White's a girl. But it's a good try.
Oh, what are you talking about?
No, I said who's the speaker?
I know.
Aaron?
One of the 7 dwarfs.
Nice
Oh,
done.
that is
One of the seven dwarfs. Now, from the tone of the poem, we can figure out specifically which dwarf it is by how the attitude comes through, knowing your different dwarfs and stuff like that. Sturkle.
Grumpy.
Why do you say grumpy?
Because he's grumpy.
So straightforward, because he's nicely done. Because he definitely comes across as grumpy and unhappy and stuff like that. Ooh, here's your next question. Does the speaker hate the girl?
No.
Can you find me evidence to say whether or not he hates her? Schultz?
I mean, he's. Wait.
Okay. We can do that. Evidence. Does he hate her? Does he
No,
not? Why do you say no?
because he's afraid that he's gonna hurt her feelings.
Nicely done. And if you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, and you don't hate them, if you do hate them, you're like, I want to hurt their feelings and stomp on them and dance. And so he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. He doesn't hate her. What does he hate?
What she
Or
does.
cleaner.
Nicely done. What she does, which is the cleaning. Perfect! Look at that. We wrapped up just in time. Tomorrow we're going to get to more wonderful learnings and poems and stuff like that. And keep going, and come on. Look at that.